Hello, welcome back to Anemoiapolis, which was released in 2023. Anemoiapolis means having feelings of nostalgia for a time and place you've never been. It's done by a Michigan developer, Andrew Quist. Sells for $13.19 on the Steam store. You can also get it in itch.io. Plays on the Steam Deck 100% as well. Now, a lot of people say this is about liminal spaces. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You have fallen into a surreal and haunted underground neighborhood. Now, we're going to come across the entity known as Shadow Man. I say entity loosely because the developer never uses the term entity. We'll talk about that soon. But it's more likely a symbol. Now, you see on the right hand side. On the last video we did on this, we went through the golf course, which was random procedural generation. Most people last till hole 69 and then they take a screenshot. There's only one chapter to this game. Developers unlikely to make a second chapter. Hole 121 seems to be the world record someone who went up to. This is a mental place that we're in. Now this is a beta version. I'm just going to play it up now. This was in the introduction of that.
Town in the middle of nowhere, a bunch of empty lots, I guess. The developers never built anything here. Anyways, for some reason we didn't realize that this place was sucking up like 15 times the amount of energy that it should be for like 30 years. You know, the usual bullshit. Anyways, still looking forward to the curry, but don't be afraid to put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Love you.
So that's the beta version, which has the introduction saying that the mall was never built and we're investigating a transformer that's sucking up energy for 30 years. Now that's the only evidence we've seen so far of the place being suggested that it's haunted. This presence. We're going to come across the Shadow Man entity that everyone talks about, which is this thing here. But the developer calls it a malevolent vaporwave. Now we're going to come across that in this video. Andrew Quest says about the theme of his game, I haven't heard anyone mention it yet, but Anemoiapolis is a game about organized pyramid schemes, including explicitly multi-level marketing. It ties the idea to cult mindsets and urban sprawl. Think about all the arbitrary barriers keeping you from upward mobility. Now, other gamers that have played this have said, well, if that's the case, you haven't really done a good job, because that's not what I'm getting from this game. All I'm getting is liminal spaces, and everyone keeps on about these liminal spaces. The developer said that a few times on his in an interview. He said the underlying story of Anemoiapolis is about corporate pyramid schemes. The underlying theme of Anemoiapolis is the American suburbia is inherently isolating. Now, about Chapter 2, he says, was going to be a continuation of the spite I have for people who think they can do without other people. There is a mindset of apathy in the US that I can't relate to. If Chapter 1 was a romanticizing of loneliness in single-family housing neighborhoods, Chapter 2 was a damnation of it. A co-worker who coughs in your face and says, don't worry, I'm not sick. People with inherited wealth pretending that they've earned it and that other people lack work ethic. The neighbor who watches their Ring camera diligently looking for dangerous people who look different from them. More specifically, I was going to make a parody of evangelical Christian culture. Then I realized I had crossed a threshold into hate, the thing I was trying to push So I'm trying to turn it on its head. Maybe there are ways I can spread ideas about hope and empathy and loving your neighbor. That's where I am right now. So let's go into this game. Now we're going to talk about it. As I said,
Please wait for 2 elevators to arrive.
We've got 2 elevators to rise up. I'm just going to turn down the sound a little bit so while we can talk about that. Now, as I said, he calls the everyone calls the Shadow Man entity a malevolent vaporwave. Now, this is what a vaporwave is an artistic visual style to evoke a sense of nostalgia, alienation, and escapism, often exploring themes of consumerism and technology. So that's essentially what this game was all about. This was the theme, and everything was supposed to be a symbol of that. So instead of an entity, we're actually coming across a theme. Now, a lot of people think that we've fallen into the back rooms because of how the game is set up. We start outside and then we fall into a pool, and they think that we're part of it. There seems to be largely a mindset. Now, the reason why I say that is because when we went through the movie theatre, we actually jump onto a gigantic tickets that lead into a screen where the elevator is located in the screen, and we go up, which in reality would not happen. So that in alone is suggesting that this Anemoiapolis that we're subjected to is really just a mindset than a place of reality. So anyway, we're coming across this. Now you can actually get stuck in this. I will actually show you that at the end of the video. At this moment, I'm just going to show you how you legitimately solve this puzzle. So we're taking up, the objective is to get 6 elevators to Central Hub and then take the last elevator up to the surface. This will actually drop, I guess we're in the gigantic sauna. This will break the glass, which is a viewing area for some reason. You got a male and females, which is a viewing area to a pool for some reason. So a lot of people think this may be level 37 in the pool rooms. Now in the pool rooms there is no entity. Level 37 doesn't have an entity, and that's important to note reason why that is the case, because level 37 according to the backrooms law doesn't have an entity because it's going back to what the backrooms was originally all about, which was liminal spaces. And unfortunately, a lot of the backrooms law just became, trainer wheels off, and especially when it merged with the SCP Foundation, sort of was merging into it. Now we can actually take this ride down. You just got to crouch. This was actually in the pools game as well, which borrows heavily, doesn't borrow heavily, but just borrows some concepts from this game as well. And Andrew Quest borrows his concepts from other games as well. So there's a lot of people complaining that Liminal Core, which is another pool rooms game, is basically a copy of this one. But Andrew Quest said he's not really that bothered because he himself has borrowed from other games. Now this section is called the Lazy River, and look, a lot of people say this game is just about liminal spaces. I don't think that does justification. I don't like the term walking simulator either, because games are more than just walking. I prefer the term an exploration game. And that's exactly what's going on here. It's an exploration game. It's not just about liminal spaces though. It's the game tests you as to how you feel about random procedural generation, which we saw definitely in the mini golf course, and I will show you that at the end of the video. As I said, somebody claims they got the world record by getting up to a hole 121. Which is insane. But it also tests you against nonsensical, illogical mazes as well. Like, we've just gone backwards, and we're not going back. We're not entering into the area that we just came from. We're entering into a new area. So the game sort of tests you not just about liminal spaces, about logic, illogic, random procedural generation, infinity, other things as well, and that's what the game is completely all about. Now, in this section, you will see what essentially is level 188, I think, in the back rooms. That was originally the ending of the beta version, and again, I will show that at the end of the video. We can't access that area, but that was in the original beta version. In the beta version, the introduction changes, as we showed, that basically you're sent into an area where they claim that a mall was never built, and that a large amount of the transformer has been sucking large amounts of energy for the last 30 years and was sent in to investigate. It is possible that some time-lapse sort of thing is happening here, and that we're basically been wandering around this Anemoiapolis center for the last 30 years. And that kind of makes sense to some degree, because the Shadow Man entity actually does look, if you look at the shadows, it actually does look like us as well. And it may be just the fact that we've gone to a bad place at some point. It's different than the quick glimpses that you get of the Shadow Man as well. So the Shadow Man in the basement area seems to be malevolent. We'll talk about that to some degree, which is different compared to how the Shadow Man in quick glimpses has. So the quick glimpse versions, which we'll come across soon, doesn't affect other things that are around it. Where in the amusement area, or the movie theatre area, or whatever it was, no, the amusement area I think it was, we saw a amusement ride turn on by itself and go really, really fast, sensing that there was a presence there. It could be just time lapse. We've been just wandering around, stuck in this area for ages. We think that we just simply fell into the pool and started our journey, but we could be just wandering around for ages. We don't actually know how much time has gone by. Now, there's two things I would like to point out. Is that one, Andrew Quest was creating this game when the SCP Foundation was merging with the pool's ideas and the backrooms in itself. So at that point in time, it wasn't hardcore cemented as what it is today, that level 37 does not have an entity. However, as I said, I strongly believe that the Shadow Man entity isn't actually an entity. It's more just a symbol. What was the other thing I wanted to point out? I can't remember now. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate playing and talk at the same time. This looks random procedural generated, but it kind of is. But you've got to basically just keep following past a certain path, and you look for these doors on the right hand side, and you can click through them. If you ignore them, you can go down this slide here. It will just generate another. I'm just going to show you now. Generate another door, exit door, a little bit later on. So basically, the game just keeps giving you the same sort of rooms over and over again until you exit. That's basically how the game works. And for some reason, every time we jump, we sound like a duck. I'm not sure why that is. We don't make a human noise. That's right. The other thing I was going to say is that Andrew Quest actually admitted openly that he never really fleshed out the lore behind Anemoiapolis. So, in all honesty, look, I mean, he has concreted 100% what the theme was supposed to be about. That was 100% the theme. I read to you in the beginning what Chapter 2 was supposed to be all about. Sort of against the romanticizing of loneliness, I guess, that you don't need anyone. The apathy that people have. So, because he never really fleshed it out, and he was open to ideas, he on the Reddit forum for Anemoiapolis, there he quotes in quite a few places. He's open to ideas of the name of the person who's the Shadow Man, which I guess would be your name if it's you. Now, there's also because there's only one chapter, people have been trying to, I guess, toy around. People who've bought this for $13 have been toying around trying to get their money's worth. So there are various things you can do. One of the challenges is to collect over 1,000 tickets. There are a lot of tickets in this game. I found over 500 myself, but you can actually infinitely gather tickets by going to certain areas over and over again. You will actually come, and I think the mall lady, she says that in the basement, if you check the bin, you'll come across. So that will be in the next area that we come across when we come. There's actually tickets down there if you have a look. Normally I just jump down all the way to the bottom, but I'm showing you here what we're supposed to do. So we're supposed to climb up and then sort of travel all the way down. Now, at the start of this game, we do fall into a pool. So if you wanted to combine the Hydrolytis plague, you could. I say that because if you actually look at our view screen, where our view actually changes when we get into the water. Now, that could be just saying that we're cold, but it does seem to have a mental effect on us as we get in. So you see how the edges are sort of fogging up in our view there? That's really having an effect of our mental state. So it is possible that we have the Hydrolytis plague, and that is subjective of the hallucinations that we're getting, the quick, was that the Shadow Man that I just saw? And the confrontation when we go down into the janitorial section. It is also possible that we had more than one job. So, you know, even though we're in the janitorial section. But if we did investigate the Anemoiapolis mall, if that was our job, we may have, if we were investigating the Transformers legitimately in our job, we may have been going down into the janitorial section as well. We did not need to be a janitor to get down there. So as you can see, you can sort of jump into all those various areas. This is pretty much the whole entire game that I'm showing you. There are various sections where the Shadow Man is. I don't remember them all off the top of my head. There's plenty of videos. I won't show every single section where the Shadow Man is, but I will show you some. So we go down here. There's tickets on the top of those lockers, by the way. And you can hear the buzz all the time. So it might be just the fact that we've put ourselves in this mental state because we are backrooms enthusiast, and so we've imagined ourselves in the pool rooms. But if you go back to the beta versions of the game, the beta versions of the game actually sort of are self-aware that it is a game, and so that we're in a game. And I found that interesting that the beta versions, which have been taken out, those references have been taken out to showcase more reality, but the original versions were, I guess, using humour to show that they are very self-aware that we are in a game. So it is possible that this place that we're in is actually just a game we're in, that we're not literally in the back rooms. And the problem is the fact that there is an entity when it's now pretty much cemented. It wasn't cemented at the time that Andrew Quist created this game, but it is now cemented that level 37 doesn't have entities. Now, on the right hand side, you quickly saw the Shadow Man there on the right hand side. So that's what I'm saying. The Shadow Man sort of just quickly shows and then disappears. And I guess it's supposed to say, "Whoa, what was that? Was that someone? Is that a figment of my imagination? Am I going crazy? Is that because of the hydrolytis plague? That sort of thing." There's plenty of water if this was a real place, so we wouldn't. And we could eat gumballs. Like if we were in the cinema complex, there's plenty of gumballs there. I don't know if there's 30 years worth of gumballs. If we have been alive for 30 years and wandering around in this section. I can't go down there. I don't know why. There's tickets there and I should be able to go down there, but I can't swim. Why can I not swim? I sound like a duck. I should be able to swim in that section. You can walk along this section. Now, the door, this says staff entry, staff only here. You can actually fall down and open it up from the other side. So there's no... and I've done that in another playthrough. Nothing happens. There's no... That doesn't do anything. But you can open that door. I really want to go down there, but I can't seem to go down there for some reason. Sorry, I'm just wasting time. You want to see the whole point. I do like the visuals. The visuals do look nice. I can actually swim down here, so I'll show you the visuals here of what swimming looks like. That looks cool. Look at that for a view there. That looks awesome. That's kind of spooky. If there was a noise, like in the pools game when you swim down and you hear that whale type of noise. Or even if there was some sort of snake that went through or something, you feel like there should be something there. But I can't do it here. That makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, as I said, I'm wasting time, so let's keep going. Well, we've got a lot to go through. I've already showed you the developer in the first video I did of this, Andrew Quist. He did a talk demonstration of what it was like creating this game. He was just learning programming and going through. He was going through a random procedural generation game for a city, and he was using the concepts from that. He was basically just toying around with random procedural generation. And he really wanted to do spooky abandoned centres because that's where he grew up. That's what was happening, shopping centres were being abandoned, and he just found that really creepy. They weren't being used, utilised. They were just being abandoned, especially during the COVID sort of epidemic. So this is where you can jump down and open the staff entry door as well. So I'm a bit lost now. I guess if you come across this for the first time... Oh, here's where we need to go. This is a janitorial section. Genesis access. So this is where we're going to come across the Shadow Man now. Now the concept here is basically you just need to find the exit symbols and don't stop because there is something chasing you. You can open up things, but as the entity passes, I say entity, as a symbol, as the malevolent vaporwave passes by, he will open up all the lockers and turn on the showers and do everything. As I said, it sort of seems to me more like a bad thought, like a point where you've spent too long isolated. This one says keep moving. Which is what you wrote that to yourself. I doubt it. The malevolent vaporwave wrote it to you. I say malevolent, but it's not malevolent against you. It actually doesn't have an effect against you. Let's turn it up so you can hear the full sensation of it, and I'm going to stop talking for a minute. Run! So I'm turning it down now. I don't know if you heard that, but it made the same jumping noise that you actually make. Yes, you are the Shadow Man entity. And if you just wait, it actually doesn't do anything. It is hijacking, trying to sort of hijack your mind or having an influence, which seems to suggest to me that it's kind of more like a bad thought trying to hijack you. Sort of like you've been alone too long down here. This is where isolating yourself has really had a negative impact. Like it started off, fun to some degree. It was romantic, exploring all by yourself. But now we're at a point where, but it's not malevolent, like it won't kill you or anything. It's just, it does seem to have an effect on you, but it's not taking it over you. And whether that's more hopey of you, because we've been descending and descending and descending, and now you'll notice it's all about raising all these elevators to sort of the central hub, and then again going to the surface. We will meet another person called the Elevator Lady. Don't know what the Elevator Lady is, whether that's another part of us, having been isolated for so long. Not sure. Could it be a mental health worker or something along those lines? Again, not sure. But that's all up to your own interpretation. And as I said, Andrew Quest has admitted that he didn't really ever flesh out what the law about Anemoiapolis. But I think that's interesting if that was the case, if it's all about isolation and the romantic side of it, and also the taxing side of it, where it can become toxic if you isolate yourself for extended periods of time or for too long. It can have a really toxic effect. where you might not be able to return unaffected to society to some degree. But we'll talk about that in a sec. But anyway, that's how you get out. You just follow the exit signs. Let's turn it up a little bit. So we're now out, but the Shadow Man will still be coming with us. But again, you'll see it won't be the same malevolence as what it was. And again, we see that soon. As I said, we seem to have 30 years of gumball that we can eat here. And endless supply too. No, it's not. Once you've clicked it, you can't keep clicking it again. But if this was a real place and not a mental state, then hey, you could just keep clicking it for as far as I can. So I find it strange how you go into this malevolent sort of dark basement area and suddenly you come out in this groovy section. It's like, what? So the idea is to climb up here. I don't know if he created all this artwork himself or designed it himself. He may have. Very groovy areas. These are built on real building type areas, or inspired by real building type areas. Again, I talked about that in the first video. Sorry, we're doing two jobs, and with my health the way it is, I haven't had too much time. I do intend to do a recap update video soon, where I showcase all 30 games that we played last year and do a quick note on each one, coming up with the updates. Now, is it here somewhere? Well, it might not be here. The Shadow Man will come out. Maybe it's around the corner. This area was the actual ending in the beta versions. When you took the upstairs corridor there, you would actually come across the ending. The very first room ever invented was the underground of the cinema complex. The room in there. Oh, there he is, the Shadow Man entity there, and he disappears. So he's coming with us. So it does seem to be basically that we're in some sort of mental state that we've brought about, put ourselves into, and that we might not actually be in level 37 at all. Or maybe we've put ourselves into a mental prison inspired of level 37 of the backrooms. But I am getting this mental state more than a reality place. And as I said, look, we jumped on gigantic cinema tickets, walked into the elevator, which was inside the cinema screen. If that's not saying this is not reality, I don't know what is. Plus, we're often walking back and, I know the backrooms maze often changes as you traverse it as well. But, again, that really does seem to be pointing to that this whole thing is a mental state. And we've already established what the theme was, the developer's theme was about this, which is all pointing to symbolism. And I think this is it. I think this is the section where, yeah. So basically this sends elevator 5 back to the central hub.
Going up.
Now there are, speedrunners have got this down to under 14 minutes, this game. Essentially it'll take you about an hour, maybe 2 hours if you're going to buy this game and look around yourself. speedrunners use a trick involving the elevators. I will show that at the end of the video. And they also do a trick involving the first ramp when you start the game. Again, I will show that at the end of this video. So now we're going to bring up level 6, elevator 6. Now elevator 6 won't appear until you do the others, and as you see, there was no elevator there before, and now there is, and this one only takes 10 tickets. So as I said, people try to do all sorts of things to get their money's worth, and one of the challenges is to find 1,000 tickets. So there's not really much to this. Again, this is sort of appears random procedural generation. It's not really. It's look, if you go left and continue left, and it's sort of like backroom sort of inspiration. I kind of feel like Andrew Quest was maybe running out of ideas. This was actually part of one of the endings of, there's 2 different beta versions. This was a sort of like a second part of the, and again I'll show that at the end of the video. But if you just keep left, you go back in the elevator, and that's it. That's the 6th elevator. So now we're coming across the ending. And again, I'll turn the sound up so you can listen to the ending yourself. I'm not sure what the elevator lady is referring to here, but it seems to be referring to the fact that you shouldn't be alone. You need someone. And our journey is to find that person and bring that person with us to come back to the surface, which seems to be normality. So I kind of get the sense that this elevator lady is some sort of mental health worker, maybe a psychiatrist or something along those lines. But let me know what you think the elevator lady is.
Please wait for more visitors.
I'll turn the sound up now.
Hey. Hey, I'm in this elevator.
Settle down.
Over here.
You know, of all the people who went down there, you're the first person to come back out. Unfortunately, your knowledge of this place is a liability.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You can't leave just yet. There's a friend of mine still down there. He owes me a few things.
No.
I'll think about opening this elevator when he is in it too. Dead or alive. Oh, here. Take this. You'll need it.
Going to bottom floor.
So the elevator lady says that we need to go get a friend and bring the friend back with us, dead or alive. That we're a liability, that no one else has come back from being in the place that we were. Again, largely I'm guessing all to do with symbolism. And then it just goes back to the beginning. You can replay any of the levels that you've been in if you want. Or you can start the whole game again. It just goes back to the beginning. So now let's have a look at various parts of this game. So this is one of the beta versions. Thank you for playing the Anemoiapolis Chapter 1 beta. The other 50% is still on the way. As a solo developer, these things take time. In the meantime, feel free to explore. This level is under construction, but go ahead and look around. You will not be able to progress to the next level until the final game gets released. To whet your appetite, these are the images. So this was the ending of the first beta version. And this was the second ending of the beta version. Unfortunately, this level is not finished yet. Are you interested in the story? Do you want to know what Anemoiapolis is? Why was that guy dead? Was it up with the ghost in the bathroom? All those things will be answered. Come back in a month or something. Seriously though, thanks so much for helping support the development. And the game says this.
Wait, this game isn't even finished? God damn it.
So the developer in-game is admitting that it's a game. And that's also in the beta introduction version. This was removed, all these symbols showing that you're playing a game, where it tells you how to jump a fence. That was all removed to express reality. And for some reason we jumped normally. The duck noise was added later. This was someone's meme of the elevator lady. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that's what the elevator lady actually looked like, but anyway. Now remember, we do actually fall into the pool at the beginning, so as I said, it could be we're under the effects of the hydrolytus plague. But there's no guarantee that that's actually the genuine start of how we got in there. We may have been traversing Anemoiapolis for many, many years, and we just started witnessing our journey there. But it does seem to have an effect on our vision. Now this is how to get stuck eternally. Now if that doesn't cause us to become a malevolent vaporwave, I don't know what will. You can actually get yourself stuck internally into the pools, and this is what it sounds like. And you can't get out of that, so if that doesn't cause you to become a malevolent vaporwave, I don't know what will. So that's just to illustrate how you can break the game. And you can't get out of that. Now, so this is someone's completed the 1,000 ticket challenge. As I said, that's something that all people are doing to get their money's worth out of the game. There's no achievements with this game, so people have set their own achievements. Remember when I talked about getting the balls in the first video out into the... Someone has done that. That's just to prove that they got all the balls out. I don't know how they done that. And this shows you that that room is actually empty. They got all the balls over the ramp. In fact, they actually got it further. This is in the original beta version, but let me show you where they got the balls to. Which I thought they got it to this section here. That is crazy. I don't know how they did that. People have too much time on their hands. There's no way I would ever do that. But talking about breaking records, let me just get this for you. Okay, so the world record was 121. I'm now going to beat the world record for you. This is hole 122. This is random procedural generation getting longer and longer and longer, and oh my goodness, does this ever stop? I have a headache. It took hours and hours and hours, and generally with the high buzzing, I'll turn the sound up again. I generally had a headache. This wasn't fun. But now you can see what it's like to just keep going and pushing and pushing and pushing. And as the developer says, this is infinite. It will never stop until the game has too much information, and basically it will lock up. And that did happen at one point, and I had to come back and do it again. So this is actually a second recording. Sorry, sometimes you get stuck on those things. And there we go. We made it to a whole 123. See if you can beat that. Okay, so now I'm going to go take the exit just to show you. And there we go. We're at the exit. Now let me just show you something. I'm going to just show you, go back to a whole 123. And I want to show you something. There we go. See, the game tests you on how do you feel about illogical mazes. Now also I was going to promise to show you what speedrunners do. So if you click and run out and just run to a corner, you'll actually end up being transported to somewhere outside the elevator very, very fast, and sometimes you can actually see the elevator rise up. So it is possible to position yourself in a situation where you're in the room to be able to take the second elevator. And this is how they beat the they've clicked this open as they shut it, and they're able to bypass the puzzle. So it is possible. In the speedruns, you do have to get all 6 elevators up to the surface to be able to beat the game anyway. So you can't just go to the last elevator. Well, that's it, guys. That's Anemoiapolis. Until next time, bye for now.